Women who are early risers have a lower risk of developing breast cancer. This is according to a new study from the University of Bristol. Their researchers compared data, lots of data, on hundreds of thousands of women, finding different body clocks did make a pretty big difference. The scientists found that those with an inbuilt morning preference, the LARCs, were 40 to 48% less at risk of breast cancer. The analysis also showed women who slept longer than the recommended 7 to 8 hours a night increased their chances of being diagnosed with the disease by 20% per additional hour spent sleeping. Joining us from Glasgow, Professor Richard Martin, who co-authored the study. He's an expert in clinical epidemiology at the University of Bristol. Welcome to you. This is a metadata, big data set.
Yes, absolutely, yes. The analysis was based on two studies. The United Kingdom Biobank study, which was 200,000 women, 10,000 of whom developed breast cancer, and then another study where we had 100,000 women with breast cancer and 100,000 controls.
And Professor, just in terms of I suppose, the counterintuitive element of this, you think more sleep equals healthier outcome, healthier lifestyle? Not so.
Yes, in this study we found that sort of prolonged sleeping was linked with a slightly increased risk of breast cancer, and that may be related to morning versus evening preference. One thing this study has done is it's made those findings, and we think they're pretty robust. What we haven't done is really unpick the mechanisms by which these links may have arisen. And that's why we really now want to take this work forward and do some more biological work to understand what's really underpinning these associations.
Because I suppose if you could identify a chemical process that may be responsible, then you're really potentially onto something.
Yes, well, this idea that really started off from a finding that night shift workers were at an increased risk of cancers, breast cancer, prostate cancer. So this idea has been around for some time. This is one of the largest, most comprehensive studies to sort of support this previous evidence. It's not just in breast cancer, so previous studies have looked at other cancers. So there may be some sort of common biological mechanism that underpins these links. And if we could unravel that a bit more, and we are planning to do that, then I think we may have a greater understanding of what causes cancer to develop.
And Professor, inevitably, there will be night owls out there reading this thinking, oh golly, I'm at a greater risk than perhaps I thought I was yesterday.
Yes.
Need they worry? Is it simply the case that we're back to where we've always have been, which is regular screening is the best you can do?
So the things about cancer, the things that are really strongly associated and consistently associated with cancer, and that we know would prevent cancer, are things like stopping smoking, increasing physical activity, maintaining a healthy weight, a plant-based diet as much as you can. Those sorts of things are strongly associated with cancer, and those are the factors I would focus on. This finding is really interesting. It probably has a small impact on cancer, and so I think the emphasis really isn't so much on people worrying about whether or not they should change their behaviour. At the moment, the real emphasis, as we've said before, is really on understanding the biological mechanism by which this could have arisen, and then focusing on the sorts of biology that might be explaining it.
And oftentimes you do get these exciting developments, breakthroughs, discoveries. Just briefly explain, if you can, Professor, the mechanism by which you then set about finding the funding, because I'm guessing that's a big part of it, and the expertise to take on the next stage.
So we've come to this conference. We're currently at the National Cancer Research Institute conference in Glasgow, and what we're doing is we're presenting our results largely so that we can present our results to other scientists and make collaborations with people who could really help us bring the expertise to start to unpick these findings in much more detail. But our findings, because they're so large, and we undertook a variety of approaches to confirm that they really were robust. Our findings are such that I think people will take notice and will want to come and collaborate with us and possibly fund us and fund others to try and take these findings further.
Professor Richard Martin, really appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed.
No problem. Thanks, Colin. Bye.
There are warnings that poorer children are being priced out